Hi, Courtney here. I wanted to share 11 kind of unconventional ideas, and some would be common to you, that can help you save a lot of money. And some of these are big things, and some of these are little things that add up. And these are things that I have done for years. But wait for the end. I have something special to share with you that might be kind of counter intuitive to this way of thinking. And forgive me if I sound a little out of breath. I am getting over COVID for the second time, and yes, I am vaccinated, and I'm grateful for that because I'm alive and didn't go to the hospital. But I am very short of breath, and I have been sick for most of this year. I've had COVID twice. I was in a car accident. I'm not a person who ever gets sick. And the reason I'm saying that is because, that's even part of this video, is because it has really informed a lot of these things, and to the point where I almost stripped back so much that I'm now having to figure out what to add back in. So, with no further ado, let me go on and talk to you about that. Actually, I'm going to have 12. The first one is to find cheap hobbies, and I've addressed this before, but it's very important that a lot of people's hobbies can become very, very expensive. And so, for instance, things like hiking and reading and things like that, you can make them expensive or make them cheap. And I have found that with most hobbies. And so, this is a big area of contention in my household because my husband has a lot of expensive hobbies: hunting, fishing, horses. And me, on the other hand, I don't. And I'm not to say that that's a martyr, but I'm trying to help him find ways, because he retires in a couple years, that his hobbies don't cost so much in retirement. So, for instance, we are about to buy a used truck from a friend that will basically be used for hauling a horse trailer, but it can also be used in our roofing business to haul shingles and things like that. So it's $7,000, but our business will pay for it, and that is expensive. But if he only uses it occasionally for work and to do the horse trailer, it should last about 10 years at least, and we won't have to buy another one. For instance, for me, reading, I often download books from my Hoopla app from the library. I will go to the library. There's also a book donation box where my mom lives, and a lot of times I'll take my old books and trade them out there, and I have found that to be a great way. I love used bookstores as well. So anytime I travel, I find a used bookstore and I load up on used books for really cheap. The next one is phone and phone accessories. I was looking today for my husband and I to upgrade our iPhone 6S and 7. And one thing you have to learn is to get off what we call the hedonic treadmill, which is basically the term for keeping up with the Joneses. If you always have to have the new upgrade, you're going to be spending a lot more. And I noticed, like, a lot of people, like, if you look up iPhones online, they give you the payment plan, not the price, and you have to kind of dig down for the price. And so, like, for instance, if someone had purchased an iPhone 11 or 12 or whatever is out there now a year ago, and they paid $1,200 for it, and they've been paying payments, that phone may not even be worth what they owe on it right now. So my husband and I always upgrade to older phones. And right now we're looking at like an iPhone SE or XR, which is about a $400 phone, which would be the most we've ever spent for a phone. And the only reason I'm looking at spending a little bit more on that is because it has a little bit better battery power, and I researched, and I want the phone to last more than a year. And unfortunately, these phones have built-in obsolescence, so they stop working as well, they don't upgrade as well, they don't keep updated as well, the batteries run out faster, because quite frankly, they're made to do that. And so being mindful of not always having to have the newest, but then you're also always getting something better. So if you haven't had an iPhone 11 and you're upgrading to an XR, which was, a few years before, you're going to be, it's still going to be great to you. It's just like recently I was driving a 2004 Lexus, and I upgraded to a 2012 Honda Accord EXL, and it's fantastic. I love it. But I didn't have a 2020 So when I do go to upgrade again in 5 years and I get like a car that's 5, 6, 10 years old, it will be nicer than the one I have now, most likely. So learning to be mindful about your upgrades. The other thing is when you upgrade, a lot of times, especially with Apple products, the accessories change. So like my husband and I have really nice Sony headphones. There's no jack in the phones anymore. When he upgrades, he won't be able to use his headphones. He'll have to get wireless headphones. And that can be kind of hard when you work on a farm and you sweat and you're wearing a hat and those little earbuds pop out. My husband also has a lot of ear problems. His ears have been rebuilt like 17 times. And so the outer headphones fit better. And so, anyway, that being said, you have to think about when you upgrade all the accessories that come with it and that change. We kind of addressed the car just now as well. Not always having to have the best, the newest, but getting something better. So, in the financial independence world, it is often recommended to, of course, look at Hondas and Toyotas. And because they have the best ratings for a long life, being dependable, being less expensive to work on overall. We mostly have Hondas and Toyotas. We do have one Ford that's a truck, and my son has a Kia, and that is because we found a very well maintained 16-year-old Kia with low mileage from an elderly man. And it was $4,000, and we purchased that for my son. The man had done all the maintenance, timing belt, everything was done. So even at that, we figured if he got a couple of years, and I did my research on that particular Optima, it had really great ratings, and not all Kias do, but that particular one really did. People just loved it. It had like a 4.75. So far so good. We've had it for a year now. It's been a great car. But just learning to be happy with a little bit better, not a lot better. Like you don't have to have the very best. And if you don't let yourself get used to the very best, then you still feel satisfied. The next one is housing. The housing has increased threefold in the past 60 years. So since the 1960s, houses were average of about 1,000 to 1,200 square feet, and they are now upwards of 2,200 to 3,600 square feet, and the size of the average family has gone down. So I had 4 kids at home, and we had a 2,400 square foot house. And when we built this house, we built it at 1,800 square feet. And we had 1 kid still at home, and we knew that we'd have kids coming home. To be honest, we both wish we had gone a little bit less, maybe 1,500 now, because the cost of the taxes, the insurance, the upkeep, the maintenance, the cleaning is all more the more house you have. You got to go replace the floors, it's more square footage. You need to paint, there's more to paint. So the heating and air is going to be more. So getting the house that is not necessarily the worst house, but a house that meets all your needs, and really think about how you're going to use that space. I have an office and a workout room and a guest room, and to be honest, I could probably do with a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. We have a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath house. The little mudroom bathroom never gets used. Everyone goes to the next one. It was a huge waste of money. So just always thinking about how much do I really need? And so because if you're not investing in your retirement or for your future or for savings, but you have a really great house, when you retire, you have to think about, okay, that is money I could have been putting in retirement that could have been going to interest for me that is going to interest to the bank. And then you might have to downsize if all you have to live on is Social Security or a small amount of it from a 401k because you didn't put enough in. And we all know that the growth on investments starts early. The next one is, and I'm sorry, I've lost count, clothing. Creating a capsule wardrobe. I don't really know what a capsule wardrobe is, but I do know that if you can buy clothes that are interchangeable for what you wear the most. So I have a few dresses, I have a few dressy outfits, but I mostly wear kind of workout type nicer clothes. So I don't wear like tank tops and leggings. I am a yoga therapist because my clientele is elderly. I work in therapy. I'm a rehab therapist. So I generally will wear things like joggers with cute little t-shirts, a little sweater, and a pair of tennis shoes to work. Sometimes, yes, if I have a meeting, I do dress up and wear a little bit nicer work clothes. But for the most part, I have like 5 different pairs of joggers in different colors, and then I have probably 10 t-shirts in different colors, and I have about 4 pairs of tennis shoes that are interchangeable, and a couple of different sweaters that I can interchange and wear and mix and match. And I have some that are for cooler days and hotter days. So being mindful that you don't have to keep buying stuff. And another thing I'm doing today, I have said this so many times, but I think it goes for repeating, is I'll go in today and put together 10 outfits based on the weather for the next 2 weeks that I will wear. So when it's time to get ready, I can just grab an outfit and go. And I buy most of my clothes at resale shops, and I try not to buy too much fast fashion because I don't like to support, that industry of cheap clothing, and I don't like to see things go in the landfill. But when I do need something, I usually just pick it up at Target or a resale shop, sometimes Walmart, but not too often. I try to stick to resale as much as possible to reduce the amount of clothing going in the landfill. And I generally do the boutique resales. I just find better clothing there than I do at the Goodwill, but you may have a great Goodwill. I find our Goodwill, a lot of the clothes are stained or have holes in them, and I've just been burned too many times, so I kind of tend to do the boutique resales. It's still really cheap, and I sell my clothes there, and I have a credit. Like right now I have like a $70 credit, and I could go buy clothes there, and I can get like really nice clothes for really cheap. The next one is this is a mindset thing, and it's just learning to be patient. We knew that we needed a bigger truck for the farm, and my husband had purchased a truck from a family member for $1,000. It's worth about $3,500, and it didn't do everything. Y'all are going to go with me to let my dog in, okay? It didn't do everything we needed to do. So we knew we saved money. We've been saving, and we knew we were going to have to buy, I'm sorry, I got to get a dog treat. We knew we were going to have to buy another truck. So we waited and we waited. Certain things came down the line. My husband looked at things, and having the money to buy something really helps you because you have the money to buy it, but you don't have to. You can wait because if something else comes along, and we kind of had a price in mind that we were willing to spend. And generally on vehicles, we'll spend anywhere from under $15,000, but to be honest, we usually spend around $7,000 to $12,000 on vehicles, depending on how often we're going to use them. Our last one was $12,000. Another one we got was $9,000. We've had that CRV for 2 years. My car was $12,000. It's the newest car we have. And one of the trucks we have is $1,000 from a family member, and this next one is $7,000. You see the theme here, though? Every single car we own, we got from a family member or friend. They know when they're selling vehicles, if they have a nice vehicle and we need one, we'll likely buy it, and we do. Every single vehicle we own is come from someone that we know. So patience, that is the thing, patience. Not being like, I need this, so I'm just going to go out and buy it. I'm going to go car shopping at a car lot. That's a good way to spend a lot of money and get in trouble. So just kind of thinking about what you need and being very, very patient. The next one is learning the law of subtraction. I learned this from Joshua Becker, and that is the human nature is when you need something to go and try to figure out how to add something to fix it. So let's say that I'm trying to think. You want to redo your bedroom, okay? Your bedroom, you feel like it's too dark. Let's face it, most of us have multiple blankets, we have multiple sheets, we have multiple throw pillows. So instead of going and buying more, you pull out everything you have, You get rid of what you absolutely don't love, and then you take what you love and you redo your bedroom. Maybe you get furniture from a different part of the house that you're not using. Maybe you move the furniture around. Maybe you change the bedding. Maybe you layer blankets differently. And yes, maybe you will go out and buy a few essential things. But for the most part, we mostly have things laying around our house that we love, that we purchased anyway. And if we can get rid of what we don't love, then what we love shines through. And I have found this in so many things, and that is one of the things I want to talk about now. This year during COVID, and as I told you, I've suffered greatly this year being sick. I quit coloring my hair. I quit going to the nail salon. I did finally go once the mask restriction and the vaccines were done, before this last wave where we had to go back into mask. But I learned that I can actually do my nails myself pretty easy. I'm not great at it. It doesn't look as good as the shop. But I've learned that I'm fine just cutting my nails, filing them, taking off the nail polish, pushing back my cuticles, and with my toenails, I like for them to be painted. So I've learned that if I buy toenail polish that's kind of close to my skin color, so I buy like pink, if it gets a little bit on the skin, it doesn't show as much, and it will, if I don't get it off, it will wear off within a day or two off the skin, and my toenails end up looking just as good as they did from the salon, and I saved myself like $70 for a manicure and pedicure. I learned with my hair that having my haircut, I would spend about $40 for a haircut. If I was getting color, it was like $110, and I'm not coloring my hair anymore, so it's saving me $360 a year or more on that. With my nails, I now only go quarterly, so that was about $800 a year, and that now has been cut down to about $280 a year. And I really like having that time at home to do it myself. The other thing is similar to having hobbies, but it's habits. Creating habits that are frugal. Like today, I am pantry cooking. I didn't talk about this yet in food. I meant to talk about food. Let's talk about habits and food, because that was two together. I will pantry shop. When we get down to bare bones, I will try to go as long as I can without going to the grocery store while making a list all along. I have my little trusty notebook. I buy little cheap notebooks. And I went through and I looked at all my ingredients and I went through my notes in my phone last night, and I made a list of all these different things I could make with what I had on hand. So, for instance, today we're having lentil meatballs I have found some pizza sauce and pasta, and I'll do some spinach in that. We're having black bean brownies, pumpkin oat bars. I'm going to make a rice with canned drained kidney beans, spinach, and a vegan cashew sour cream sauce. Lentil shepherd's pie. I had some leftover vegetable soup that I made. I drained the broth off. I will add a can of lentils, some ketchup, some mustard, and I have my husband pick up some instant mashed potatoes at the Dollar General. We don't normally eat instant mashed potatoes. We're vegan, but that's an easy fix, and I'll make a shepherd's pie. I have some vegan biscuit mix. I'm going to make biscuit mix. My dad gave me a butternut squash yesterday. Normally, I try to do more non-starchy vegetables with vegetables, but when I get to the end, I just do the best I can. And we're going to do chickpea salad tomorrow when we travel with spinach and tomatoes in a wrap. So I'm going to pop some popcorn, make some lemonade, make some tea, kind of stretching out how long before you go to the store can be really helpful in saving money. Pantry shopping, keeping stocked up on staples. We are whole food plant-based. This really, really helps. Having your beans, your lentils, your whole grains, your vegetables, keeping frozen vegetables. I also buy a lot of pre-cut vegetables and pre-prepared vegetables. They're not that expensive. You can save a lot of money if you like doing that yourself, but I don't, and I have a tendency to cut myself. I'm not the best chopper. So food can be an area. So recently we were spending about last December about $1,400 a month at the grocery store. That included, we were having a lot of family over back then during the holidays, but that included me picking up stuff for our Airbnb, my dog food, my cat food, all of our toiletries. And recently I started trying to be more mindful about that, and just through meal planning and getting very focused on saving money and looking at what I had and making meals and pantry cooking, I've reduced our food budget down to about $600 a month. Now, I'm still spending a couple, probably 300 on the other stuff, but that's a $500 difference, 900 to 1400, $500. That's a huge amount of money. I have a couple more that I feel like other people have never heard anyone talk about this one, and that is rehab. Not rehab for alcoholism or anything like that. I last year, when I had COVID the first time, I developed long COVID. I had to see a pulmonologist, cardiologist. I work in cardiology, and they had talked to me about doing pulmonary rehab, but it was an hour away, and I work, and I was weak. I'm like, I don't want to drive an hour. So I found a free pulmonary rehab online. I found a doctor who had a free course online for COVID, and I did that, and it was fantastic. It worked great. I was able to do everything in the comfort of my own home. And then the other thing is, I'm not a physical therapist. I'm a yoga therapist, but I did start out to be a physical therapist. I didn't go to school to be a physical therapist, but I worked in the hospital for 2 years in physical therapy. And what I found was a lot of what I teach is very similar to physical therapy as a yoga therapist. I'm a medical yoga therapist, so I have a lot of training. And so when I have someone come in that is like has a shoulder problem or something like that, you can find online all kinds of PTs now, OTs, occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech therapists, pulmonary rehab, and you can look this stuff up. And it's not a replacement for medical care, but if you have a minor issue going on, like sciatica, that you might be able to find exercises to do online. If you have a Dower's hump, you're rounded in your back, or degenerative disc disease, Google that stuff, y'all. Find a physical therapist. Bob and Brad are great. I think they're at the Mayo Clinic. And find exercises that you can do at home and do them and see if they work. As long as you're not, check with your doctor. Obviously, I have to say that. But if it's something minor, a lot of times you can find what you need online. And the last one is, when you've done all of these things, it also helps to find what you've given up and let go of. What did you really value? Did you miss something? Did you need to go back to something? And what I found was I did give up house cleaning for a while during COVID for obvious reasons, and I really missed it. I have had a lady help me for years now since my children were small. She comes every other week. It's $100. And there have been times in my life where I had to give up going out to eat to have her, but it gave me more value. It gave me more value to have her come and clean my house than it did for me to go out to eat. And so, going out to eat's $50 for 2 or 3 people at this point. So giving up going out to eat a couple times a month to have her come and have my whole house clean when I come home from work one day, my laundry done, my bed's changed, my floors mopped, so worth it to me. For you, it might be getting your nails done or getting your hair done, or it might be spending extra money if you're a guy or girl on your sports or your hobbies. We all have things that we value, and when we cut back in other areas and we save a lot of money, like that $500 I've saved on food every month, that can easily cover having her help me clean. The money that we have saved on buying cars helps us pay for other things like vacations, to go see our kids and things like that. So you do also want to look at what you value and what you do want to spend money on, and then cut back in the areas where maybe doing your nails at home, or maybe, cutting back on some of your hobbies. My son plays golf, and around here, certain places it's $80 to play golf, and other places it's $20. So maybe you do go to the $80 golf course once in a while, but you just do that once in a while. It's a treat. And, he found that he wasn't really giving up anything by doing that. So there are ways, but he still values playing golf, and it's an expensive hobby. He bought his clubs at a pawn shop and saved a ton of money on them at a pawn shop. So, all right, that's all I have today. This is a rather long video, and I got to get to cooking, y'all. I got some pantry cooking to do. If you like this video, thumbs up, and thanks for being here. Bye-bye.